grew up in New York City in the 1980s.
I know, crazy.
What was that like?
That's why they're so hard.
We weren't allowed to go into we weren't allowed to go into certain neighborhoods.
Actually, surprisingly,
And now
I
it's
think compared to kids now, we were.
You jump on the subway at 13 years old and
like I see a
12-year-old
kid walking around South Congress by himself. I'm like, are you lost? I used to take the bus to school at like 10 by myself, public bus. So,
and you made it. You made it
you
here.
had no choice though in New York. I mean, it's not like parents didn't have cars.
Right.
You know, you had to like send your kids off.
But you never like went down to the village. But you never like went down to the.
I mean, we went down to Canal Street.
That's true. A lot of overcoat shopping there.
Surely wouldn't be let into a school now dressed like that.
What was the bar?
Giant overcoats.
You guys don't
like
have
going into an elementary school.
No, definitely not.
Overcoats aren't on the fall 25 catalog.
No, not yet. Not at the top of the list.
So we're here at the Criquet Shirt headquarters in South Austin. It's actually in an area that's near and dear to my heart because I used to do radio just across the way. But you guys have done something really special here, and there have been a couple of moves to show for it now. Congratulations on that, I guess. And how good does it feel to have gotten Criquet Shirts to the point that it is now, guys?
It feels pretty good, Trey. Thank you very much. Psyched you guys came to visit today and having us on the show. Criquet, Bill and I are lifelong buddies. We met in kindergarten, grew up together in New York City, had a crazy idea to start a business together. I don't know how many years ago now, Bill?
2009.
Was when the seed was planted.
Yeah, when the seed was planted.
I think we sold our first shirt in 2011, and here we are today, and Bill and I are still, best buddies, and it's been a lot of fun. So,
well, it was a no-brainer for us to come visit, considering I think Matthew and I spend most of our time in your apparel.
It's the only time I wear a collared shirt.
We didn't pay you guys to
No, I pay you a lot.
Brian's wearing his daily caddy suit over there.
Yeah. I'm an unofficial life caddy for the brand, but
you coach the kids in that?
No, but they're gonna get a kick out of seeing me in it today. No, it's interesting because I think that kind of grew up similarly in terms of in Oklahoma, the school I went to was kind of uniform or whatever. Always had to have a collared button up or collared polo. And so when I moved down to Austin, I can't remember when you guys first came across my radar, but I was like, oh, this is my look. This is my feel. This feels great. And so, yeah, I've got, my closet is just a bunch of player shirts.
Hopefully they've gotten better over time too.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Got the fun logo ones, but also just, love the style. And, I do feel like it is it's a really, really great Austin brand, right? Because you're talking about restaurants and stuff, like there's no dress code. We don't have a lot of restaurants where it's like you got to wear a coat and tie. And but you do want to, you want to look nice if you're going out. You don't want to, throw a collar on.
If I'm meeting 7 dudes at a steakhouse for dinner, 4 of the 7 have on Criquet shirts because they're generally not used to wearing collared shirts, and when they do, like me, it's a Criquet shirt usually.
Well, that's what's kind of the most fun is like when you roll out to, like the tournament. So Hobson's son played in the golf tournament that I coached in. So we roll out there, and it's like every dad out there is rocking the Criquet, and unless it's a high-end logo from their country club, which
it is kind of funny.
We are in a few of those, but not enough.
Yeah,
if anyone wants, call us.
I mean, it is funny though. It is like the indie band that you listen to in a small club, and then I'll be in the East Coast or the West Coast or Europe or whatever, and you see somebody with a Criquet shirt, and you're like, oh, I know those bros.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's kind of you just do one of those.
I promise I was wearing them when they were young and edgy.
You got to go up to those guys and tell them how cool they look.
Yeah, that's right.
Appreciate that.
That's awesome. So, speaking of the golf tournament, Hobson, how was your experience?
This was my first kids golf tournament. My son Hayward is 12. Going into this, I think he thought he was a scratch golfer. We spend most of the time at Top Golf, and then taking about 10 mulligans on every hole at Lions. And In this tournament, I think he shot 14 over. So, it's
good.
That's actually, that would be neat.
9 holes. 9 holes.
9 holes, okay.
Yeah.
Still, depending on the course.
No, it was it was a ton of fun. I don't think he got too discouraged. He had a great time. I was the marshal of my group.
Nice.
So I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to actually keep score here and not let him do any mullies. And
I was marshalling with a couple moms, and I was like, what's a birdie? What's a penalty stroke? But no.
What did the winner shoot?
Well, in the 8th grade division, a student from St. Andrews, and I'm forgetting his name, Bennett, shot
Bennett.
4 under. Get this.
Sure, Bennett listens to terrestrial radio.
Get this. Shot 4 under and aced the par 3 8th.
Threw
a wedge.
We got to get him some Criquet shirts. This guy's going somewhere.
Early.
Extra smalls.
Early NIL for Bennett because he threw a wedge right over the pin and sucked it back in for an ace.
Holy
it was pretty
smokes.
cool.
Which hole?
The 8th at Blue Lake, so out in Horseshoe Bay.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of like it's a lot like Hancock, 9-hole course. Nothing too long, maybe 1 par 5, but greens were in great shape. They did a really nice job. So anybody out in Horseshoe Bay looking for just a fun little track to go out and
That's a ways to travel though.
It was about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Get ready to drink, listeners. Got in the car.
Drink?
Got an hour away, and my son goes, oh, great, an hour of fish. And I was like,
At least you didn't make him listen to Goose.
yeah, oh, stop it. New album's great, by the way.
Might have been right up his alley. Sounds
But
like
yeah,
a bunch
they
of
had just
12-year-olds.
played the Hollywood Bowl. I was like, we need to listen to this show. My buddy Michael was there. We need to see what's going on.
Is there
So
any
it
kind of
actually lets you listen to your own music?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
What do
okay.
you, y'all's
Good for you.
kids? Do you split the difference? Because I'm finding some stuff that my oldest daughter's only 4 this weekend, but that we can find common ground on some Taylor Swift, some Bob Marley. She loves Bob Marley, some Willie Nelson.
Nice.
So I'm trying to find that middle ground. But at what point do they just take over the radio and you're done?
It's up to you, Dad. It's up to you. Just stay
I
away
gave
from the
in
kids.
too
Bob.
early. I gave in way
you
too
gotta
early.
hold
It just
the
made
line.
the car rides easier, No, I think it was around 7 or 8. And honestly, she did like my music for a while, which was pretty cool. But then once the other kids get in the mix,
That's what it is.
you're
The other
out.
kids.
So yeah,
And
it's the
their
other
stupid
kids.
parents.
Yeah.
We were listening to Chapel Rowan the other day, which I've really enjoyed what I've heard now. And then a song came on that mentioned some unmentionable stuff for the radio. And I was like, wow, we won't be listening to that song again.
Yeah.
It's about activities that take place in a car. And I was like, no. That's not.
It'll catch you off guard.
Yeah, it'll come fast.
It happens quick.
Fast.
It happens quick. That's why I like to stick to the Grateful Dead radio.
Yeah,
Nothing.
if I never hear another Kids Bop song, I'll be okay with that. Thankfully, my kids are have now outgrown that. We've outgrown the Disney stuff too, but even some of that is tolerable.
Sure. I love the
first 50
Frozen
times.
soundtrack. I'm down.
I mean, Moana, come on.
Yeah, I think we're
Moana,
right at the cusp
yeah.
of Moana. I think we're about to hit it.
And Trolls. Got
Trolls.
a little Justin
Dipped into
Timberlake
Trolls,
in the
yeah.
mix. I can get down with Justin.
A little Justin Timberlake. Yeah, there's some crossovers that work. But
My 2-year-old asked for, I couldn't understand what she was asking for, and eventually I realized she was asking for Hands on the Wheel by Willie Nelson off Red-Headed Stranger.
Wow.
Because it used to be what I'd calm her with, and she asked basically to put it on. I kept, this one, no, and finally it came on. She's like, yeah, that one. And I was like, wow.
Man, that's
You're gonna be cool.
proud papa moment right there.
Yeah, one of our first proud moments as music-loving parents was that Andrew Bird was calming our kids when they were really young and just crying incessantly in the car, and there was nothing else to do. We would put that song on, and that would chill them out.
The whistling or the violin?
Both, some combination of the two. I mean, he's a better whistler and violinist than most people are at anything else, and he's got both of those skills in his back pocket.
He's coming back. He's coming back in November.
Yes, he is.
You know who I was excited that's here this weekend?
Jack White.
Brooks and Dunn. Brooks and Dunn.
Boot, scoot, and boogie, huh?
No, I mean, as Neon Moon has become ironically huge in the past year or two, resurgently. Have y'all seen this on the internet?
Yeah, karaoke.
Is it?
I think karaoke is what brought.
I mean,
Neon
Hob and I
Moon.
moved to Texas after the peak of Brooks and Dunn, I think.
Yeah, you guys survived. I mean, you
Yeah,
guys
we
moved
were-
here
we were-
like
Lucky
05
you.
or something.
Lucky you.
07.
Yeah, I thought of you the other day. I went. I might have had an afternoon.
I mean, I know the songs, but
An afternoon, I wasn't listening to Brooks and Dunn when I thought of you, but I went to Hotel Van Zandt to hang out at the pool for a few hours with my wife because we had a babysitter for a few hours and, any port in a storm. And looked over and Bar Ilegal was right there nestled beneath some giant monstrosity of a condo building. Is that still operational? Do you know?
I don't know. It was part of Clive. It was in the back behind Clive Bar.
Right. But the little shack is still
shack,
there.
I don't think they can rip it down. I think it's like a historic. Yeah.
Billy was a bartender at a private, not a private.
It felt private, though.
Yeah, like a little illegal, bar illegal, little mezcal spot.
Yeah. The door.
Behind Clive
nice.
Bar. Yeah, I think that's the first time we met. It was before Cricket.
Mezcal only.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Candlelit. It was a vibe in there for sure.
It was behind Clive Bar, right? You said?
Yeah, behind Clive. Now Clive's got like some weird thing built on above it, like at Rainey Street. That story is a sad one.
It really is. I remember I played golf, speaking of golf, with an old guy. He's probably 75, 80. I remember his name was Manny. We were out at Kaiser. And it was like 08. It was kind of the beginning of the Rainey transformation. So Bridget had opened like one
Luster
bar.
Pearl.
Luster Pearl.
Maybe door guy. First door guy on Rainey Street.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah.
You were the first door guy at the first bar on Rainey Street.
Street, yep.
Oh, gee.
That's a good claim to fame
big,
right
and
there.
they're like, we got to bring in a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Bring in the muscle.
Yeah, this guy is not keeping us safe. Yeah. He's drinking the inventory.
Yeah.
And I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 bars on that street by that time. And we asked him, he was one of the few houses left. And I was like, oh, you must have somebody come knock on your door every day. And he's like, oh, yeah. And his wife had been sick and passed, and his son, I think, had passed. And he's like, I have a number. And I was like, do you hate just having all this stuff around you? He's like, no, I go next door to Luster Pearl and meet all these young girls, and they're all nice to me, and they buy me drinks or whatever. But I told him at the time, I was like, but you must have a number. He's like, yeah. And I was like, what is it? And I kind of guessed. He's like, it's like $750. And now you think back to that, like how quaint that is. Now he would have sold that house for $4 million.
Jeez, yeah,
that was a good number for him.
That was a good number. Yeah, he had the number in mind. He's like, this is probably what I need to disappear to Bastrop for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was cool. Luster, won that first. I think it was Friday Night Lights was still kind of active, and so that crew would come in just about every night. They were there. It was the only. I mean, it was really kind of like a little hidden bar that no one knew about, and it was sort of safe and protected for those folks.
Yeah.
And then just became like a neighborhood bar for all the people who lived there. There was a house next door, the Baltimore House. All dudes from Baltimore.
Oh, really?
Shout out to those guys. They're all good buddies of mine still. It was so cool back then. And, and obviously Clive coming in and Bar 96 and, it slowly changed. Eisenhower, I think, was the second bar in after Luster. It opened right around the same time as Clive. But, once they started putting the buildings up, it just changed the whole situation. Yeah.
You see little brother still hanging on with some pointy elbows.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're just doing like an ironic bit at this point or what.
We say this all the time, but it's like, the town grows up real quick when you think about it, and you look back and you're like, man, where are those places? How do we keep them around? But you guys do a good job. You guys have a little dive bar fascination. You guys, I love seeing all the places you guys find. I think Deep Eddy's pretty much home base, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we're big fans of Lions Municipal Golf Course, and it's basically a pitching wedge from Lions. So it's certainly been, our favorite place, our favorite dive bar, and it got us into this. Like you're talking about, Brian, we did this dive bar tour, on social where we'd go to a bunch of dive bars around town and even out of town, and do a little profile on them, and that was super fun, and it was cool to highlight different places, our favorite spots around town.
We had on pause in social, not on pause in real life.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
we're still active in the dive bar scene. We're just not putting it out on our.
Once a week for work to go to a dive bar was getting a little, on the livers.
I'm ready for you to press play again.
Yeah, we gotta have you on there.
I need some new spots. I need some, some places to check out. There's just so many tiny little hidden gems.
And now the old ones are getting overrun. Charlie XCX posted from Don's Depot last week.
Oh, really?
If you had told me that 20 years ago.
It can get a little much there on the weekend nights.
Yeah, the McCombs crowd really took over about 5 or 10
Do you guys
years
ever
ago.
go to Sam's Town
Oh
Point?
yeah, that's probably that might be my favorite spot in town right now.
Yeah, I agree. I just had my 50th birthday party there in January, and it's a awesome spot. I mean, that's
And
about as
50
Nice
today.
segue. Yeah,
50 today.
Happy birthday.
50.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Really?
Babies.
We're all-
We're-
we made it
this
to
is
the,
like
to the bright side.
This is like a senior tour recording at this point.
I came home and have you gotten your first AARP magazine in the mail yet?
I think they must have had my day run. They've been coming for a while. So.
Or somebody's lying about their
Yeah,
age.
exactly.
Yeah, the first time we left Sam's, I might have had, one of those THC drinks, one of those legal drinks. And
For now.
yeah, and when I
Yeah,
got in
no
the Uber to
kidding.
leave, and we were leaving out of the neighborhood, and I was like, where is this real life? And as you
Where
first
am
kind of
I?
wander out into the backyard of the place with all the cooperative living and all the cabins and stuff back there, it just feels like Austin 30 years ago.
Need more
Yeah,
of
that's
those
an
places.
interesting story. So it was a family, right, that owned it, and then Ramsey Midwood was playing there, just about weekly, I think.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, they kind of wanted out, and Ramsey's like, "I'll take this over," and he's done a pretty awesome job, like
Yeah, he's created an
transforming
amazing
it
thing.
within like what it is, right?
Yeah, he didn't
try and
ruin
change it, yeah.
in any way. I mean, it's kind of like, like you'd say about Deep Eddy, like it feels very much similar. And the old heads who used to see drinking in Deep Eddy, 25 years ago, I was a little nervous going into Deep Eddy, and sometimes I still am, which is great. That's how it should feel.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I shouldn't have this collared shirt on. No offense to collared shirts.
No.
This
Came
collared
from
shirt's all
lines.
right, but
Yeah, you have to be wearing the right collared shirt to walk into Deep Eddy. But
Had dive bars though, like, can you have a new dive bar?
yeah, I
Like-
don't think you
Yeah,
can.
it's hard to.
Can you take over an old dive bar, have a new name, and have it still be a dive, like?
I think one point.
It's a good question. I think.
I think you can pull- if you pull it off.
Nickel City pulled it off.
They did,
And,
yeah.
I missed the Long Branch, but they definitely kind of came in and did a nice job of making it feel like it had been around for a while, and now it's definitely worn in.
Yeah, and it kind of got copied a lot around. The way anything does, and there's probably shirt companies that copied what you guys did, which is that you find somebody that really has a genuine affection for something vintage or that they grew up around. You guys grew up around, the garment business and grew up, as he said, wearing uniforms. But like Travis Tober grew up going to blue collar bars in Buffalo, and the Hunt brothers grew up going to those bars in Detroit. And so they had pure affection for those, and they wanted to recreate something that felt natural to them. And so those places, that's why Nickel City, I think, feels so authentic. Yeah. But then when you get people doing kind of dress up, and it's like, blue collar porn, the ride, it's like people are trying too hard to make something. And you can, it's hard to put your finger exactly on it, but you can. It's kind of like pornography in the 80s. You know it when you see it, kind of thing.
Well, I think
Is Lala's trying too hard by opening a second bar, by opening a South Austin location? Because obviously they have a reputation as being one of the best dive bars in the city.
Lala's?
Christmas year round, yeah.
I didn't even know
Second
that they're
location going in south.
See, I'm just not a second look. I just,
Yeah, I
never
feel
go
like
to a
that. I
second
feel like that's
location when
trying
they
too
have
hard. I feel like it's trying too hard. Do something different. Don't open Lala's too, though.
But
Well-
maybe, yeah. It's hard. I won't comment without having been. But isn't that a Matt Lucky joint?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought that they
You'd
own
probably know
Lala's
better than
now.
anyone else.
And they seem to have good respect for history. But I can't speak to a second location. But yeah, second location is questionable.
Well, I was going to say it. It always comes down to the people in the building too, right?
Yes.
It's like it's
culture.
Do you show up? Do you really, kind of walk the walk?
How many people do you guys have working for you all now?
We are around 30, I think.
Holy
Oh
cow!
man!
Yeah, I know, pretty crazy.
And I remember when it was 2, and I remember when it was like 5 or 6, and it felt like, whoa, this
You guys
is
are
high
blowing
cotton.
up.
You guys are blown up.
Did you guys both move to Austin at the same time? You said 2007.
Yeah, I got here in 07. I think. What did you get here in 08?
Into 08. Yeah.
Okay. What brought you to Austin initially? Just the pull of a really cool city?
I had visited in 06 at a friend who'd moved here and loved every second of my visit. And I was like, I want to live there. I was living in San Diego at the time. And that was always a temporary move for me. So first chance I could, I got out to Austin, and obviously I haven't looked back. And I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere since really ever. So, well, it's not.
That's a sign that you're old now, Bill. It's longer
I
when
got here in my mid-30s, and I've walked.
So you were in New York City for 18 years, and you've been here for 18 years?
You know, my parents stayed in the city, but we went away to a school. We went away to a boarding school, so really didn't even live in the city
that's right.
during freshman in high school.
Which boarding school?
I went to a school called Hotchkiss.
Okay. Oh yeah, I saw.
Yeah,
it.
there's
There
a
it is.
little banner.
Little
over
banner
there.
over there.
And you went off to Oregon, and you went to Carolina, right?
Yeah, most kids from Hotchkiss end up at the University of Oregon.
First one ever.
First one ever.
Shipped away.
No, actually, I think I was the second. The first one was a guy a year before me, and he played football actually at Oregon, which is another shocking part of it.
Didn't you
'cause-
play football at Oregon?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a walk-on wide receiver.
Blew up both knees on the first practice.
All Pac-10.
Yeah.
Wait, were you post Achilles Smith, or was that around your
Achilles
time?
was at the end. So I got there in 94.
Okay.
And my first year was the Rich Brooks Rose Bowl year. And that was the second Rose Bowl they ever went. I think we got into the Rose Bowl at 8-4. Pac-10 was not strong that year. We went and played Penn State, got just destroyed. It was, who was it? It was Kerry Collins.
And
Kajana Carter and Kyle Brady.
That team was the best team on Game Breakers on PlayStation. Loved
Yeah,
playing with that.
I mean,
Penn
that
State
was
team.
just a freaking NFL team, and we were not ready for that. But that was the beginning of Oregon football, really. I mean, obviously they had a team before then, but really that was what got Phil Knight kind of interested in investing in Oregon sports, and it's been a good run since.
Have you ever crossed paths with him, either when you were a student there or afterwards, considering that you're in the apparel game now too?
No.
Okay.
No.
Waiting for that
I've seen him
Nike
flying on
Cricket
his
collab.
helicopter at games. That was pretty cool.
Say that again?
He used to fly into
he
the
fl-
games on his helicopter.
Land on the field.
No, I don't think he did that.
Well,
Maybe he did. I don't know. I can't remember. I do
Landed on
remember
top of
seeing
the press
chopper.
box.
Trey, we'd be remiss. I mean, we bring up Carolina. We bring up older men at the table. What's our take on Belichick's press release that clearly he wrote himself and put out through Carolina football's in an interesting place.
Wait, what was the
I
press
didn't hear
release?
about this press release.
Oh,
yeah.
so in reply, they basically said CBS they were told that the interview was only going to be about the book and not to bring up other subjects.
Oh, right.
CBS has refuted this. It's,
You would assume that CBS has some sort of email exchange or a lack of email exchange that says, yeah, we didn't agree to any terms that you're suggesting.
I was
that we
just,
did.
I mean, it was kind of crazy. It kind of felt like, I don't know, like, I mean, and granted, it didn't have the full context, but it sounded like she was just running the show.
She's just over. It sounds like she's just over her skis. So I guess his girlfriend is running his media empire now, and maybe
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of history doing that.
That's
See, it's a
combo.
tale as old as time. The older guy is attracted to / in love with the younger lady who drags him around by his tongue. It's like Adam and Eve. Once Eve died, Adam starts dating Heidi, and the rest is history.
Don't shake your head over there.
What you guys are doing?
I mean,
How are her offensive schemes? Are they pretty good?
yeah,
What did
exactly.
she draw up?
Can't be any worse than the last few years he was in New England.
If they start running really weird trick plays that look like they were devised by somebody who's never watched
It's
football.
got to be. I mean, it's just got to be whiplash though for the athletic department, right? You go from Mac, right, who's just
Don't even get me started on that guy.
Oh, I love Mac Brown.
You better
Oh, I'm sure you do love Mac Brown.
We got great kids.
We all love Mac.
We got great kids. Kids take great care of us.
Sally's
We had
cookies.
26 explosives.
I love Mac Brown.
No, I love Mac, but now you got Belichick, and it's like it's like TMZ's come to town.
Well, there was supposedly going to be an added level of professionalism brought in with Bill Belichick being named the coach there because things ended in a pretty ugly fashion for Mac. He insisted that he was going to be back even though North Carolina didn't want him back. Sound familiar, Texas fans? Yeah, it should. Now he's back in Austin trying to work his way back into the Longhorn program. Hopefully they're wiser than that. But they bring Belichick in to maintain a sort of professionalism and to turn it into more of an NFL model. And it seemed like an interesting idea if nothing else. But now that you've got the element of this younger lady and they refuse, although I know they've said that they met on a flight. I don't buy that necessarily, especially after the question that triggered her interjecting and saying, hey, we're not talking about that right now. It's like, why are you interjecting if it was just meeting on a flight? Like, why can't we ask about that? Is that because the real answer is that you met on some sort of older guys seeking younger women dating site or something even worse than that?
I don't think those exist. I mean, even if you take the age and the gender out of it, she's just a person that doesn't know. She's out over her skis with regard to PR, with regard to sports, with regard to public-facing stuff. So even if you take everything out of it, she's probably just over her skis.
It's all for naught if they win the ACC, right?
It's like Cricket letting me design their next shirt, which
no
open to that. But we haven't asked Hobby. Hobby's the Tar Heel here. Yeah. How do you feel about the Bill Belichick era?
I mean, the Carolina football hasn't been very good over the last number of years. So,
250 years.
So, I mean, I was excited about it. It brought attention to the program. With the NIL, it's interesting. It's, everyone's talking about, I can't recruit. But now it's, I feel like it's more just like contractual stuff now than, the recruiting and having to talk to the mom and all that. I was kind of excited to see where it would lead. I think still it's not looking great so far.
Jury's out.
I wonder what's happened to
I haven't been too excited about the recruits that they've gotten so far. I feel like they haven't landed anyone with a big splash or through the portal and with Bill's name and everything. And I mean, jury's out. We'll see what happens. It's definitely bringing more attention to the program, which I think is a good thing for.
And North Carolina has shown a willingness to spend a little bit more. Of course, I sit in a position where my school is money whipping anybody in eye/earshot, as evidenced by the report that came out yesterday that they're spending $35 to $40 million on the upcoming football team. If there is a team that is maybe competing in that regard, it is Oregon, though, because Phil Knight does want that football championship.
That cricket money.
Yeah. Recruiting's. I mean, we've always done a lot with not a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And then Lanning coming in and Phil being like, I want to see a championship before I move on. He's definitely throwing some money at the program and paying off. I mean, our recruiting class last year was our best ever, and this year I think it's going to end up even better. So
I feel bad for the football mom. I feel bad for these families because they used to actually have a say. The coach would come and have to sit in the living room and meet the folks and kind of
drink
all the hard work.
Yeah,
say that they love the same beer that dad loves.
But like he had to meet them and they had to get a vibe from him, even if he had to fake it. And now that coach is probably having to meet with like some jackass agent that's not even like.
Well, they have the GMs now, right? Yeah. They probably do a lot of that work for the coaches.
It's just completely
I would say
changed the
interestingly,
dynamic.
The money has got to be kind of a crazy thing in the locker room, right? Mm-hmm. So it's got to take a special kind of coach to manage that. I mean, it's a whole new.
Well, I
think Dan Lanning's amazing. Like, I personally wouldn't trade him for anyone. I think the players like him. I think he gets it and has built a really good culture there. And, and it's a complicated time in college sports.
Yeah, trying to get somebody to run wind sprints that drives a Lamborghini is tough.
Do you guys understand like the NIL, like the rules with the government getting involved here in like 20 million? And then, so is that all they can work with, or is there like the booster clubs outside of that can pay on top of that 20 million? I'm confused.
Yeah, that has not completely set into place just yet. That is the settlement based on the House versus NCAA case and a couple of other cases that have been ongoing for a while now. The hope is that if they can get some of the most nuanced details figured out, that ultimately it will be around 20 million max that schools can share with all student athletes across every sport, male, female, doesn't matter. But where it gets tricky and where it benefits schools like Texas and Oregon and schools that have someone with deep pockets, Texas Tech has been this offseason, is that you can utilize the whole idea of NIL to pay guys more. Mm-hmm. And so, look, it was interesting to hear Steve Sarkisian say a couple of days ago that Quinn Ewers never took a dime from Texas NIL fund, which means, and he said it in the moment, that Quinn truly utilized the idea of name, image, and likeness and was able to make a nice chunk of change over the course of his 3 years here in Austin. In doing so, a lot of schools don't have that luxury, though. As a matter of fact, a lot of schools aren't going to be able to fork out that $20 million because they look at football as helping to pay for everything else. Yeah, the TV deals have gotten a little bit sweeter, and that makes things easier in a sense, but it's also much more complicated now. If you are a mid-tier school, I think you have a hard decision that you're facing right now. Do you want to go all in and try and get a larger piece of that pie, or do you want to dial things back a little bit? And I think what we're going to see is a lot of those mid-tier schools, mid-tier programs start cutting a lot of different sports because they just can't afford those things anymore to try and compete in the sports that they do still want to remain competitive with.
Or they'll just give up and be like, we'll beat college athletics, and then there'll be 30
Well, I was going to say, I mean, why don't we go Premier League, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you have your top 30 every year? You win your bowl game, you move up a level.
And then Ryan Reynolds buys Texas Tech.
I am all for promotion and relegation, by the way. I would love nothing more than to kick Vanderbilt.
Wrexham Tech.
Wrexham Tech. Wrexham.
Pick a school that is not making that effort, that they don't want to make that effort, but they're just reaping the benefits of being in the SEC or Big Ten. Kick them out and bring some other second-tier school up to let them try and compete with the big dogs. I actually, as much as I despise soccer, sorry kids, I know you all love soccer, and I love watching you play soccer on your teams that have a hard time scoring goals. But that is one thing that the Premier League gets right is rewarding those in the lower levels that are doing well and docking those that don't, and say, look, you got to get your act together if you want to come back and play with the big boys.
If Mac Brown becomes the GM of Austin FC, I think your head might explode.
No, I'm totally fine with that because I don't care about Austin FC. It's fun to go to games.
He just put them all to the side.
It's fun to watch Matthew McConaughey bang the bongo before games, but Mac is welcome to do whatever he wants at Austin FC games. I don't want him too deeply embedded in the football program.
I think that might be a
now.
djembe.
Well, going back to CEO, going back to Lanning, I mean, I think that's the thing is, as a Sooner fan, you know, my buddy texted, I sent him that same stat, right, 35, 40 million, and he was like, damn. He was like, Texas finally, it's taken them 20 years, but they finally have the right CEO that can manage, you know, what it takes to run a company that, you know, is spending $40 million and then coaching football as well. Like, it's not, I mean, Sark's the right guy for the program for sure. And it's, now we'll see if it shows up on the field.
So they'll be able to keep, just back to the NIL, like the $20 million, and then the NIL funds will still exist, so they can pay on top of that.
Yeah, so schools can pay their athletes directly, and you can use NIL on top of that.
So it just added piles.
Car dealer paying $200,000 for 3 Instagram posts.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. I mean, that is what it's turned into, and guys are starting to get money in high school now too. It's all getting very murky. But the two hangups right now, the two biggest hangups, as I understand it, are roster limits and the idea of setting higher roster limits, which will effectively kill walk-on programs, especially at some of the biggest schools. And then also this insistence, and it's not just the NCAA and these universities, but also the federal government who's trying to fight this fight for them, insisting that the student athletes who are getting paid directly by the schools to put in 40-plus hours a week to play the sport on top of being students at this university, that they're not considered employees. And that's just silly when you think about all those very basic things, but it also makes a lot of sense when you understand that these schools are trying to avoid a sort of liability that comes from playing very physical sports that can have lifelong physical consequences.
Well, they definitely don't want, if they're employees, then they unionize. If there's unions, then there's collective bargaining. I mean, it's like again, they want their this has been the story of college football forever. We want our cake and to eat it too. It's like we want to make all the money. We don't want our indentured servants to get paid. We don't want to take care of their health insurance. We don't want to take care of their busted knees when they're 45 years old and can't get out of bed. No, thank you. And it's like, come on. It's like, just call it what it is. Yeah. They're employees, pay them, take care of them. And sorry, your coach is not going to be making $10 million. He's going to be making $6 million. Life will go on, I promise. But that's my take.
Chapel Hill and Eugene are both in very beautiful parts of the country. Did you guys ever fly cross country to visit the other person at their respective school?
I went out to visit Bill. Yeah,
that was an epic weekend.
Yeah, I can't remember it. No, I do remember we went to a football
game.
Yeah,
we went.
Who was the game? Do you remember?
Arizona State or something like
was
that.
Was Odson back then, or was it still?
It didn't have the. They built. They added 15 or 20,000 seats at some point. I think that was after, but it was still allowed place, and it is a loud stadium. I know people like to say that their stadium's loudest. I'm not gonna say Austin's the loudest, but for 55,000 people, it's pretty freaking loud. And it's cool. It's built into like a mound, and it's right there in the southern end of the Willamette Valley, and
Cascades are the most underrated, beautiful part of the country.
Yeah.
I lived in Ashland for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Got
yeah,
a taste
yeah.
of it then.
Yeah. Yeah, the old,
We honeymooned
home of the
in
Shakespeare
Willamette.
Festival.
It's quite nice.
That's right.
Never leaves.
They love the Shakespeare
That's right,
Festival
yeah.
there.
But yeah, no, and we went out and played golf in Florence on the coast.
Yeah, it was killer.
nice.
There was no abandoned dunes back then, so that trip happened later. But actually, a few times.
Yeah, Hobbs was telling me you guys did the solstice
did.
round at Bandon.
We were one of the early groups to do it.
Year two, I think.
Year two, yeah. So the summer solstice in Bandon every year on June 20th, is that the longest day of the year? They put together this day at Bandon when they open the fourth course to walk all four courses in the same day on the longest day. And so Bill and I and Bill's cousin Tucker and
Walk all 4 of them.
we walked all
Well,
four of them.
and play them.
And
Right,
play-
right, right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not just a walk.
And trust me, if you're playing, you're walking a lot more.
A
If
lot.
you're hitting like me, it was a zigzag.
How long
we
did that
were
take?
we were ruined by the end of it. It was
So like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
We started
when it got
at 5:45 in the morning, and I think got off the 18th at Bandon at like 8:30 at night.
there was some chafing going on for Bill.
Slight chafing.
For sure.
Have you guys do y'all have, with the travels y'all have done, especially now with cricket, do y'all have a favorite course in America? Or a course you still want to play?
Oh, I mean, there's plenty.
Sure. All right. And favorite courses you have
You
played?
think I play a lot of golf, man? I'm
only
head
played
down
once
over here
together,
at
I
Cricket HQ.
Butler and Lions
Butler
is
Lions,
where we play mostly.
My favorite rounds, no.
Well, as
Yeah.
former participants, we'd be remiss if where are we with the invitational?
Just when we
comeback?
browbeat the invitational founders
No,
and you
just
guys into
how do we-
bringing it
how
back.
do we
Well, when
bring
we
it back?
turned 50, we just decided
no.
we couldn't do it
do it
anymore.
for
The senior
There you go.
invitational.
The
It can be-
there we
it can
go.
be
There we
the
go.
Senior
Yeah.
invitation.
Yeah.
You have
It
to
can be.
over
It can be
45.
at Hancock. You've got to be over.
Well, we got roosters in town. We can work this out.
Sure,
on
he's
the,
got some ideas.
It was just
Phone
one
lines
of
are open, Rooster.
one of my favorite events.
Yeah,
One of my
we did an
favorite
annual
events.
golf tournament called the Invitational at Lions Municipal, and I don't know how many years. It was like 15 years. I mean, it was going
At
on
least
before
15,
cricket,
yeah.
and these, and Matt and Stubbs played in it a bunch, and it was like a costume party on the golf course. Just a super fun group of guys. The guys who started it were 2 Austin High grads. We got involved early on as well. Just had some.
probably the slowest round of golf ever played.
Yeah,
There's 160 players. It's
A lot of people
2
not
groups
finishing
on
the round.
each box plus.
Well, maybe
plus.
we need to move it to the solstice so we have the most
Yeah,
daylight.
I mean, part of it is the city of Austin has changed when they'll let people buy out their entire courses.
Yeah, we can't do Saturday anymore.
You can't buy out a muni on a Saturday anymore. And so I think that's one of the reasons that
Which
Our
honestly
advancing
kind of
ages.
makes sense, right? It's a public golf
Sure.
course. You don't
But if
want
you're
people
but if
showing
you're-
up on a Saturday to play and be
right.
disappointed.
Well, if C3 can buy out Zilker Park for a weekend, for 2 weekends,
Cricket can buy out
Lions. For 12
Yeah.
hours.
Let's do it for a couple weekends.
2 weekends.
2 weekend.
We changed it up. The
invitational.
invitational is now 2 weeks.
Did you build that into this year's fiscal budget? Why not? No. To me, it's just one of those events that feels like Austin, right? It's just, all the riffraff, all the weirdos out for a day at Muni is a great event.
Yeah.
So whenever it does come back, we'll be ready.
We'll
the
hit
first
And
the-
it's not
hit the
just like
caddy
your
signal.
your standard costumes, like dude showing up in like 70s
no.
stuff. Like people take it to a level that you're like, how much time? It's like not quite maybe a Burning Man commitment, but pretty freaking close.
Definitely the first golf tournament in
We've been thinking
Texas
about
that
this for
Bushwick
6
Oh, yeah,
months.
vehicles
Yeah,
and
yeah.
barges and all kinds
Bushwick
of stuff.
Bill.
Bushwick Bill,
Bushwick
RIP.
So good. So good.
You guys have been part of the Save Muni cause in the past. You spent any time around Luke Wilson? I freaking love that guy, and I know he has been a part of things too.
Yeah, Luke is an investor in cricket.
wow.
Actually, yeah, he, we met Luke pretty in the early days of cricket, and got introduced to him through kind of a mutual friend here in Austin. Was your camp counselor, Bill? Isn't that the guy?
Yeah, Jim Crowley.
Jim
What's
Crowley.
up, Uncle Jim?
But through a mutual friend, we met Luke. Luke came into our old clubhouse at the time, and he really loves this style of shirt that we have, which is that deep placket, 4-button, hard collar golf shirt, vintage golf shirt. He was wearing these types of shirts like all the time. And he loves golf. When he's not acting, he's playing a ton of golf. He's very involved in the Save Muni organization with Ben Crenshaw. And we just hit it off with Luke. Really, he was just a really cool guy.
The Godfather.
Seems like one of those salt of the earth humans. He also is the co-star of my favorite movie of all time. He just actually looks like he's wearing cricket shirts the entire time. Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Richie.
Did you guys get a chance? Did you guys get a chance to throw some shirts at Owen? He's got a new golf show coming out.
I think we definitely threw some shirts their way. So the guys reached out to us actually about that show. The guys who do all the product stuff. And
there's one photo out there.
We'll see. I think it comes out in June.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, fingers crossed that we're
What's the wildest photo you've ever seen in the wild that you weren't involved in?
The wildest. Where are you going with this one?
Well, no, just like who had a cricket shirt on that you're like, oh my God, did you see that photo of
we had no idea about
Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
I have to think on that one. I mean, we've had multiple presidents. We've had
Will Ferrell a number of times. He's great.
Did y'all meet him when he was in town for that baseball thing he does up in Round Rock?
No,
we didn't meet him then, but definitely watched that HBO deal. Or
did they make a?
I thought they made some.
I just know that a buddy of his, he does a charitable thing every year, I think.
Yeah,
I gotta think presidents is pretty cool.
Presidents is
To
pretty
see
high
a president in your
multiples.
shirt has got to feel pretty.
A number of former NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, we were backups. We were like the official shirt of the backup quarterback in the NFL.
Chase Daniel,
Drew Stanton, Matt Barkley.
Last time I saw Cooper Manning out at the Luck reunion, he was rocking.
Cooper's always rocking cricket, so yeah.
Backup quarterback's a good place to be with golf apparel because those guys are usually some of the best on the team.
Yeah, and Colt McCoy.
Speaking of starting quarterbacks, I think Sam Bradford just won the 4-man 4-ball in Oklahoma.
Care.
He's a hell of a golfer and a hell of a quarterback. He has a Heisman Trophy.
Sure, he does.
When's the last Texas quarterback that won a Heisman?
Vince Young.
No.
Wah, 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 wah.
I'm just saying.
We see you, Kirk Bowles. I know where you live.
Did Kirk not vote for Vince?
You don't know that whole thing?
Oh, man, that makes sense.
You voted for Reggie Bush. Y'all know that whole story, right?
Oh, wow. Well,
people made way too much of that. But he voted for Reggie Bush and since apologized and said he got it wrong.
Well, VY got the trophy that mattered. So
he did.
And it served as motivation also, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
He felt slighted, and he was extra motivated going into one of, if not the greatest college football game ever played.
It takes a Vince Young to save you from Greg Davis. So.
Vince wears cricket. So
VY wears cricket.
Completely.
Shout out Vince.
Yeah.
3rd and 8, nobody's open. Just go score.
Yeah.
Gosh, I've seen that so much. I miss seeing it on TV every day. Yeah, it's just, it's like, what's there to watch? It's like, the Rose Bowl game's on again, the Longhorn Network. At some point, I think that was the only show them and.
Oh, that's right. There's no more Longhorn Network. Right?
No, there isn't.
R.I.P.
But
actually, the best footage from that is from the crowd in the end zone. People were taking. I don't even know when they weren't smart. I don't know. Maybe they just had cameras or whatever. But it's the eruption.
No, it's definitely, if not the greatest college football game, one of the top 3. Yeah. So it's, I got to give credit where credit's due.
Guys.
It's been a long time, though. What is it? 20 years.
Is that right? Yeah,
20 years.
Yeah. Early 2006. So
right,
it'll be the 20-year anniversary.
See what 40 million
Maybe they'll pull off. Man, it's perfect for the storybook. Manning wins one on the 20-year anniversary of Vince's.
Oh, boy.
Where is
the poetry
calling our shot.
Where is the title
Longhorn
game?
National Champions 2026.
Title game is in.
What if it's in Dallas, guys?
Wait, where is it? New Orleans this year?
It might be.
It was. No, it was this year. New Orleans.
This year was
Atlanta.
Super Bowl.
Atlanta. Then it is
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Oh
it
my
may be
God,
Miami
what if
or
it's in
something.
New Orleans.
That'd be crazy.
Oh, hometown kid.
Oh my God, the stories write themselves.
Hey guys, I wanted to ask you this because successful people don't get to where they are by doing everything correctly. You have to make a lot of mistakes along the way. Is there an important mistake that you guys made with cricket early on, or maybe even more recently, that really helped you get to where you are, and what was the lesson that you learned from that?
I'll start. We've probably made a few mistakes along the way. I think when we first launched cricket, Bill and I, we had a women's collection, which, you know, with two guys selling
35-year-old guys. Like, we're going to sell the women's stuff too. They're going to move. It's going to move on its own.
Yeah,
like,
it was just a women's polo shirt, and
you girls are cool dudes, right?
yeah.
I mean, you joke, but
right,
you know,
bro?
I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and it's like I wish it was still around
Right,
for my.
we brought some women's stuff back, but like at
Okay,
the time,
good.
it was too much too soon
Gotcha.
for in a category that we just didn't know. I think one thing we've done well with Criquet is that, like, you know, we know who our customer is. We know them very well. I mean, you two are good examples of it, you know, and we've done, I think, a good job, like, speaking, like, authentically and honestly and with our marketing and creating a brand, you know, that resonates and connects emotionally with, you know, our customers. But when we launched women, like, it was like we didn't know how to do that. And so that quickly failed. You know,
But you have a women's line.
we
now.
brought it back, you know, whatever, 10
Last
years. Yeah, last year.
Last year
It's a
we
small, you know, kind of
reintroduced.
capsule collection. And we're big enough now that, you know,
Great
we
Mother's
can,
Day gift, by the way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, those
Shout
are
out. Get to the website.
Oh, do you have the
the tennis dress.
I think we
Tennis
do.
dress
We
is
should.
rad.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an old marketing boss. I worked 2 years in advertising and marketing after college, and he had several maxims, and one of them was most people don't know what they don't know. And so, you know, that's how you find out.
Love that saying.
Well, and it's evolved so much, right? I mean,
And your staff's evolved.
well, just in the way you market. I mean, obviously we do a lot of online marketing because that's where we're driving most of our traffic is to our website. But like that game changes every year, right? The costs go up and down, the efficiencies go up and down, and like you think you can run the same playbook, but it's not the case.
Social media changes the rules.
Yeah,
that they're operating
and you're
on
like, oh, well, I
consistently.
guess things are a little different, you know?
Where are you guys making most of your product now?
I mean, it depends on the product, but most of our polos that you're wearing are made in Peru. They're known for, you know, really high quality cotton. Peruvian Pima cotton is what we make a lot of our shirts with. That's where, you know, the majority of our polos are made, and then we have partners for outerwear pieces, or, you know, in India is known for great outerwear factories, and we're not making anything in China, so we haven't been like affected immediately by the tariffs.
Have you been hit with the 10% from the other
Yeah,
countries?
for sure.
Which matters, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely has an impact.
Cuts into the overhead.
Yeah, and we'll see, you know, how this all shakes out. But I mean, if it stays as is, it's definitely going to, you know, cost us, you know, good amount of money going into fall as stuff arrives, you know, for fall.
Fewer free beers at the cricket parties. Going forward.
Yeah, we're not giving away as much
As long
stuff.
as we get it for free, we're willing to give it away for free.
Well, like you said, in terms of connecting with your market, you know, it's like we're here to support. I'll keep buying,
Well, it's
Thank
cool
you.
too. I mean,
despite
you know,
my wife's wishes.
staying in your lane. Like our lane is pretty wide,
Right.
right? I think our shirts can be worn by a lot of different guys, different styles, different like.
You calling it fat?
Oh, I wasn't
Big
talking
bones.
about
Big
silhouettes,
bones,
but,
big
you know,
bones.
yeah. No, I just think the brand, we're not like a preppy brand. We're not you know, we can be what you want us to be, and so we allow you to kind of be your own man, so to speak, with your clothing. And
Right at
you know,
home with a
we've built great
Schlitz beer
business,
or
but
a
there's a lot of
Japanese
guys
whiskey?
who've still never heard of Criquet, right? And that's where you kind of remind yourself, and particularly in our, you know, 35 to 55 range, there's a lot of guys who've just never heard of us. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, a lot of growth still out
opportunity.
there.
Yeah.
A lot of
So
growth
we
still
need
out
you
there.
wearing that caddy suit everywhere.
Around town.
Just
I mean, I'll take it with me and I'll wear it everywhere I go.
Actually, we could do it in a red and white color scheme.
no.
That way you go.
We're talking.
you
Go up
game
to
day.
Norman.
How about tie dye for the fish show?
Oh yeah,
in June?
I'm going to the Sphere. I would wear
I
a
should
tie
do
dye
a
one of those to the
homemade one
Sphere.
out of
in
that.
May.
Well, we can homemade.
Can't imagine
we
if
can
you
do
get
some
all
homemade
sweaty in there.
No, it'd probably come off about halfway through the second set.
one. I like that idea though. I like the tie dye caddy suit. I like the
Tie-dye
red and white
everything.
for football season.
What was the red, white, and blue tie dye in honor of? I've got one of those.
I think it was just did we do that for
was a
like
4th of July.
or something?
Yeah.
We try and do like limited edition stuff.
Yeah, and Stubbs reached out about trying to get, was it the Boz?
Yeah, Brian Bosworth. We were
Multiple calls with him.
I know. We talked to Boz for a little bit. Brian, if you're still interested,
He's that protective of his IP even at this age.
Well, I think the big thing was that, the 4-button. That's what Switzer wore. And I don't, right? They're like
they've made up.
They've made up. I just don't think the look resonated with him like I thought it would.
It's not as popular in Dr. Pepperville right now.
Yeah,
maybe in a few years.
Maybe a sheriff Cricket, but no.
Put the badge.
It sounded. I mean, I honestly thought it's like it could have just been the fact that his biceps are still too big for the sleeves.
I mean, I wear one.
Come on,
stretch him out a little bit.
He's in great shape. The boss is the man.
He's in fine shape. He's not as roided up as he was back in the 1980s.
I just wanted the mohawk. I just wanted the mohawk on the pocket is what I wanted for my 44th birthday. But we still might just need to make one for me, and I'll send one to Boz and say thank you.
I'm gonna have to go watch Bo Jackson effectively end Boz's NFL life from many years ago. All right, guys, the last thing we do on each Thursday Supper Club is throw out a recommendation, food, beverage, otherwise, typically restaurant, bar, something like that. Brian?
Well, it's not something that I've had. It's something that I'm looking forward to having, and that's this weekend, the soft opening of our close friends from Small Victory and Figure 8 Coffee. They are opening a little coffee wine bar on Chavez called Strange Love.
Okay.
And I'm very, very excited to sit on their back patio and have a glass of wine. So 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., May 2nd through 4th, little soft opening. I'm going to blow them up, and now they're going to be so busy that they're going to be mad at me. But it's been a labor of love, and I'm very, very excited to sit in that space and have a glass of wine this weekend. So,
Hob?
I live up in the Hyde Park area, and with my family, one thing we've really enjoyed doing over the last number of months is going to First Light Books, and it's a great independent bookstore. And then next to First Light, there's a pizza place that opened up a few months ago. I don't know if you guys have already talked about it, but All Day Pizza. They've got great pizza, and they've got an awesome Italian sub there.
I haven't had that.
I'd put it up there with Home Slice, actually.
Yeah, it's right there with Home Slice.
It is. It's sneaky good.
We're going to be at First Light tonight. Going to have some oysters before going to see David Sedaris.
Oysters at First Light?
Austin Oyster Co. is doing a
pop-up
at First Light tonight.
Very cool.
Love those guys.
Nice.
They're opening a restaurant sometime this year, right?
In the works.
What do you got, Billy?
And I'm going to forget the name. That's okay, but you'll be able to tell me, I'm sure. And this is not like fancy food, but as a New Yorker, you're just trying to find a good bagel. There's a new place going in on Lamar. I've driven by it right across from the tavern, right where the old Austin Java.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the name.
But
I'm excited. It's in works. So to have a good bagel shop, I've
there on
read good
12th
things.
Street
I think
or
it's
whatever.
in Dallas.
Yeah,
coming from Dallas. So
I've seen
Where the old Austin Java is?
Yeah, the old Austin Java.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
I saw the fence going up, and now I can't remember the name of it either. But
they have signage up on the fence already?
Yeah, they do. So I'm not prepared. I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good. Always looking for that New York bagel.
Shug's Bagels.
Shugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of Dallas, I think.
Out of Dallas.
So we'll see. I'm a hard critic.
I was going to
I'm a hard
say.
critic on subs, bagels,
Have you been
and
to
New York
Casper
style
for,
pizza.
Casper for Minimals?
That's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Bagels?
They're actually
Great
really
spot.
good.
Best bagel in town for my money. Last night, I watched my Houston Rockets destroy the Golden State Warriors, and it had a smash burger from Thunder Chief, which is the food operator inside of Lavaca Street, South Lamar. And they make smash burgers, and they make wings, they make other sandwiches. One of the, when I texted my buddy, he said top 20 burger in town. Legit smash burger. A lot of people like to call things smash burgers these days just because it's marketable, but legit kind of latticed Frisbee style smash burger on a buttery bun. Fantastic. And they do, instead of ketchup, you can get some honey aioli for your French fries. Great place to watch a game, especially an Astros or a Rockets game. It's a pretty good Houston sports bar.
I was going to say, are your Rockets going to make it?
No. It's a really easy game when you make all your shots, which we did last night. But unfortunately, we're not a very good shooting team, which is why we're probably going to try and trade for somebody who can put the ball in the basket over the summer. But I love watching these guys. I love their energy. I love their athleticism. I love their heart and their tenacity. So I don't know. You know, they're young enough and fierce enough that if they can just get shots to fall, you know, I saw that they're plus 5,000 to win the West right now. So I was like, I don't know, maybe
Good
I
time
can
to place a bet.
pull together $100.
So if they get bounced, are you coming over and going to be on the Thunder side?
No, but I went to the Thunder game last year when I took my nephew on a recruiting visit to Oklahoma, and watched them and texted my buddies, and we're like, these guys are definitely going to an NBA Finals sooner than later. I didn't think it would be this year, but they look pretty unstoppable. Unfortunately, I have money on like every other team in the West to win the West.
Well, they're on the Odam training regimen right now. They're just at home napping.
Good for them. Works for me.
And my answer is influenced by the fact that I'm considering where to get a meal when we're done here. And so I'm going to have to shout out Knuckle Sandwich over in that St. Elmo district. It's a limited menu, 4 sandwiches, but all 4 are really good, including a lion's mane pastrami the last time I was there that you would mistake for the real thing. It's a slightly richer sandwich, but it's really good. They've also got these chickpea tater tots that are delicious, and there is a brewery right there as well. So you can
they moved this week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Knuckle Sandwich did?
Yeah, they've moved to further south at the Far Out Lounge.
Well, Knuckle Sandwich, it was nice knowing you. You're too far south now.
Don't eat too many mushrooms next time you go to the Far Out Lounge.
I was getting hungry when talking about it.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for the time today.
Yeah, thanks for having us, boys.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Appreciate
it
it.
coming in. Yeah.
You know, hopefully everybody checks us out on YouTube, sees how good we look.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.